Welcome back, everybody, to another Jam and Kenny episode. Another Jam and Kenny EP. EP what? EP.
I don't know. I think we're like on EP 5.
I don't know. I think we
Or
lost
EP4,
count. We
yeah.
lost count pretty quick into.
Yeah, well, we've been doing a lot of different kind of videos recently.
Yeah, we're not exactly
it's
sure
not just,
what is an EP. Is this
Yeah.
an EP? We'll find out. We got some things to go over.
Check the title.
Check the
It'll
title.
probably be
Check
there.
the title. Yeah. How you doing?
Doing good. A lot of rain recently though. Very cold outside.
Anything exciting?
Not too much recently, other than some news that's come up during the week. Personal life, everything's been chill. Very calm.
Very calm. You know what I did yesterday?
What'd you do yesterday?
I went to a show apparently that you've gone to before in the past too, and this is my first. You know me, I like to go to a lot of live music, and so this one was I have never heard of this person, but my brother took me to the show, and I'm sure there's people out there that are like what, but this was Miyavi. Miyavi, have you heard of Miyavi? He's a guitarist, Japanese guitarist.
Oh, okay. I think I might know.
You guys saw him in the past.
Oh, I think he was the guitar. Was he the guitarist for Skin?
He might have
It
been.
was like a
He's like
a rock
40-something
super
year olds.
group. It was like a rock super group that we saw at one of the.
Like known for his exceptional guitar skills.
Yes.
But we're on the way over there, and Jose's like, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of goth people there, and brought me back to the time when we went. Remember that time
Yeah,
too? We went to like a goth bar. It wasn't a goth bar. It was a bar that had like a goth night or something. And then you were just like, hey, you want to come with me to this bar? And I was like, and I'm dressed in like my regular ass clothes, and everybody else there was fully gothed out.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
I couldn't help but feel awkward.
It wasn't goth. It was industrial, which has some similarities to goth.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yes. these changes we make. But yeah, it was more of an industrial, which is more like electronic music, as opposed to some goth where it'd be more like, I guess I would say, The Cure. They dress pretty gothy.
Super
and
baggy
had,
pants, like chains
melancholy.
around the pants.
Yeah, that would be like industrial goth.
Like that video where you saw all those
Kids
people
dancing under
underneath
the bridge?
under the bridge.
Yeah,
and
that's like
thrashing their arms around.
It's I think it's a subset of goth, but
It
it's
was
like
a lot of that.
industrial goth.
It was a lot of that. No, this
I
wasn't.
still
This
have a
wasn't
pair
that.
of those pants.
This wasn't that out there. And honestly, that guy's incredible, man. Like he really puts on a show first and foremost. But you could tell like he's he's just super talented, man. But yeah, we went there. This was out in L.A. The Fonda Theater. He was supposed to be at the Roxy, and we were at, but I guess there was some water damage there. He was talking shit on the Roxy all night because he really wanted to perform at the Roxy. Wanted to say that he'd performed at the Roxy, and they couldn't because of the rain. The rain damage, I guess. And so yeah, he was talking.
that sucks.
But no, the music was incredible. My brother has some friends that were there, but they're like super fans, so they were there early up in the front, and we ended up taking them home, giving them a ride home, and yeah, they were talking non-stop about the show all the way back.
Dude,
I mean, it was a great show though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad I went. I will check that one out again. It's supposed to be he wants to come back like I think in April or something like that. So I mean, we'll see.
no,
We'll see.
I'd be down to go.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Well, first things first. And like a little bit of a hot button topic, at least in the gaming world. Suicide Squad was recently released. Something hotly anticipated, I would say, but people were approaching this one with some trepidation. I know I was because we heard of there was a bunch of noise leading up to this one, been delayed, and then there was issues of some leaking. There was leaking of information of supposedly how the game was going to be presented, and some backlash to the information that came out from those leaks. And there was a lot of controversy leading up to this.
The early
opening.
access launch was not great either. Taken down within an hour of release.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously had issues, and immediately when that happened, it was like, well, this is not going in the right direction.
Yeah,
And
you hate to see it.
Yeah, and we talked about it and the live service. I think that was probably our biggest concern about it was, okay, this is a live service game, co-op game, not the best track record for those kinds of games, and so we're wondering how this one was going to play out. Again, like for me, my main thing was is this going to be something that I could actually play for a decent amount of time, and and is it going to get old quick? And that was my main concern. And my initial reaction, I've been playing the game. I'm not too far into it, to be honest, but starting to play it, I mean, there is a little bit of good, but then there is a lot of I I I don't see myself playing this game for that much long. I'm gonna go through after the story type of thing. Am I really gonna be that interested in playing the game in the future beyond that? As of right now, I'm going to say probably not. Probably not. Just because the gameplay itself, it honestly feels like a step back from the Arkham series.
Oh,
In terms of like the actual combat system. Um, there's almost so much going on that maybe I'm just too old for it or something, but there's so much going on in the screen that I'm just like, it's almost, you have to adjust to get used to how much craziness is going on the screen in terms of like there's so much uh you know animated on there, whether it be point damage, whether it be like effects and all this kinds of stuff that they're trying to add to that to make it be something that is its own like unique thing. And I mean, it didn't really hit for me. It
is
didn't
there any
really
way
hit
to
for me.
turn those settings down? Like maybe get
You can
rid
turn
of
them,
them.
you can, but like you're also not playing the game the way that the developers intended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, but even then, it's like even if you take away that part of it, it still doesn't take away from the fact that it's a step down of the combat system of Arkham Knight. Like I honestly was hoping more for like an Ark, and I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I was hoping for more of an Arkham, like an evolution of the Arkham Knight system, where the combat system, like you still have people posting videos about the combat system, like whatever compilations about it. Um,
It held up.
it was
The
revolutionary.
Arkham, the Batman Arkham series, that was really good, dude.
Revolutionary. And then you have this game come out, and it's just, the character. I'll be honest, the only thing that I really like is the character, the character designs, the character effects, like their facial expressions. You know what I mean? Like they make um, little emotions that come out of them, and it's just like, okay, that's a step above. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they're actually, they shine in that. But then in terms of like, and it's not even the story for me. The story's fine. Some people complain about the story. Some people who really are big into the Batman series, and wanting to make sure they really ended the last series on a high note, even though it's kind of closed it out. And then you have this one, and it just feels like it's almost not. It didn't wipe it away for me. It's not like as if they completely undid it. And that's the main reason why I don't like it. But the story's okay. The gameplay is really the thing that I'm sitting there going into it. That's the last time that they had Kevin Conroy doing the voice for Batman. So in that sense, it kind of sucks that that's the last time we're gonna hear him. Was this? They probably. I do wish that they had gone with somebody else for it at that point. The last one, like the ending was so perfect for the last one that it almost seems like a disservice going into this one. But yeah, long term playability not there for me. Um, Character design's cool. The traversal system's pretty cool. It's okay. It took me a while to get used to it. I still, it's the Batman. It's like I almost feel like they don't do gameplay wise. I almost feel like they don't do anything better than the Batman games, and that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, man, it could be a sign of the times, people that worked with that specific combat system probably gone by now.
Could be.
The way the game industry works, where sometimes they finish a game and a bunch of people just scatter, or the company like contracts end and it's like, okay, if we get another game, we'll rehire you, we'll let you know, and stuff like that. So to me, it could be a sign of that, like, if you were gonna go in that direction, you probably should have done it sooner than later. But it probably all depends on, you know, Warner Brothers and what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it too. You know, they probably wanted to say like, you know, you guys did it, but we don't want the exact same thing you had there. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there's always that thing where that you probably have people in the room there, you know, talking about we have to make it its own
Yeah, that.
unique thing, and I get that, and it to me it maybe that was just the wrong move. I think the better thing would have been to approach it with how can we add more to that system to better, you know, to evolutionize it slightly, but still have that core thing that made people really take to it from the get go, and you know they just kind of redid it entirely, and it's like I said, it's its own thing. You can see gameplay videos of it all over the place, and you know you probably watch it and you're like, well, yeah, you could probably just from watching those clips, you could probably see that it just doesn't quite hit, just
Yeah.
doesn't quite land.
I mean, it could also have been very difficult to implement or nearly impossible. I mean, with the Batman, we only had him to do that specific style of combat, so stylizing it to each other character could have been very difficult for them.
The argument I'd make to that is when you finish the game, you can play as Nightwing. You can play as who else was it? Batgirl. You can play as there was a couple other players, and they had their own unique thing, so they could definitely do that.
Oh man. Okay, so then yeah, that does sort of negate the fact that hey, maybe it was too difficult, you know, to do for four characters. But if you're saying that they were able to do it for post game characters, then I mean that
Yeah.
it seems like it might have been an afterthought to the whole uh you know, Suicide Squad kind of thing.
Yeah, there was just something about that game that you know hit. Yeah, it just they did everything. They knocked it out the ballpark, and I think partly it was because it was we hadn't really seen anything like that until that game came out. And then you have all these other games that have come out since that kind of try to emulate that style.
Gotham Knights, I think, was one of them where it just really missed the mark in the combat system.
Yeah, well, like even Ghost of Tsushima, like you know that whole I forgot what the term is for it, but like when you're just convoying, and then you gotta dodge. Even the Spider-Man games have that system for the most part. You know, where there's a lot of comboing going on, and then you're just dodging or parrying attacks to continue those combos, and coming out with you know whatever kind of animations to fit for finishers, whatever it be, just to kind of spice up the look of it. But they could have done a whole lot more for that game, and there's just something about it.
This was $70, right? So this is part of the
$70,
new
yeah.
increased release price.
$70, but it's not even so much the price point. I don't mind
No, well,
paying that price point
I'm making
as long as the game.
yeah, that's the point I'm trying
yeah.
to make. If you're gonna charge more, then we better get at least more or equivalent. You can't give us less than what you were giving us before.
Yeah, don't rush. I don't know if even rushing it was a thing because they probably could have taken their time and taken another 3 months on this game. I don't know, 3 to 6 months on this game, and it probably still honestly wouldn't have been what I would have hoped. I think and what most people would have hoped. For some people, it was the storyline and kind of the idea of the storyline and how they did it. That kind of just did it in for them. Other people was the gameplay. I'd say most people was probably the gameplay. For me, it was the gameplay. Story was okay, and it's just gonna. I'm gonna finish it, and we'll probably play it for a little bit longer than that, and then that's probably it. You know, there's nothing else that's gonna keep me there, which was what I was wondering. I'm like, what is gonna keep me here?
In that case, you're gonna have to have a game like World of Warcraft, where every year you add a whole new story, you make a whole new game, you sell that for $40, get people to play for another year, and then you keep doing that every year, year over year. That's ultimately how you do story. I mean, these other live service games like you know, MOBAs and all that stuff, those games are kept alive because of their play style. You know, you finish a mission, you finish a match, you jump to the next match trying to get that win.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the win, you keep going and keep going and going until you get the win. Or you got the win, now you're looking for the streak. You know, where the gameplay lends itself to a live service continuous play model,
Yeah.
whereas I think games with stories or story based games don't have that, and
Yeah.
I don't think they ever will.
Why do you think people still play the Arkham series?
Because it's fun, replayability. Replayability is one thing, but a live service game is completely different.
Yeah.
You go through. It's like rewatching a movie.
I think it's the combat system. Because the videos I see to this day are the ones that coming out are like people showing off their skills of how they did this
styling.
part of the game. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
styling. But also styling was like a big part of older games too, like the Devil May Cry series. People used to throw up their style videos online all the time, and I think they still do. I've been wanting to make some, but again, the replayability is there because of, the mechanics in the game, but it's not like they're trying to keep you there playing the game constantly for like a year through. This is like replaying any other game. Like those arcade games, it's like replaying any other game. You're replaying it to hear the story, see the story, and experience it. You're there because of the aspect that you're looking for, be it the story or be it the fighting mechanic, or you trying to trying to just keep outdoing yourself with like a no-hit run and stuff like that, which all games do, but it's only games that are playthrough games. You play through and the game is over. There's no adding extra stuff. There's no battle pass. There's none of that. Whereas I think what they're trying to do with this game is keep it alive by saying battle pass, and we're going to give you extra missions to do, which for $70 they're not going to invest that much in the after either. We've seen it before where they're like, oh, we're going to give you guys and then like it all falls short. Expansions or DLCs are canceled halfway through the development because it just got too expensive.
They're thinking that they're going to get this much people and this much revenue coming in to be able to
yeah.
It's kind of a bummer. I'm still, like I said, I haven't even finished it, so I'm still going to play through it just for the story's sake. But at that point there's not too much there keeping me there beyond that. I know a couple people that play the game, and we'll probably try playing the co-op thing and doing all that. But same thing with Gotham Knights. We tried doing that for a bit, and it just kind of died out. Moved on.
Well, we had to wait too long for the instances and stuff, and just we lost interest.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. On a brighter note, they did. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out, right?
Yes. Yeah, we talked about it a little while ago, I think.
Michael Keaton's back.
Yes.
The man, the myth. No, I'm actually excited about that one just because, the first one came out. I don't even know when the first one came out, but it was when we were kids.
Yeah,
we were kids. But everybody remembers that one. It's got like a little bit of a cult following to it. But they just recently revealed the title for the second one. And
what is
it? Can you guess?
Beetlejuice 2.
No. The title is Beetlejuice.
God
they just double up. They doubled up on it, and but I thought that for some reason,
is this
if you would have asked me what do I think the title would be, I would have never guessed that for some. But then I hear it and I'm like,
it makes sense.
That's
perfect.
That's perfect.
Yeah. You know how to call them.
Yeah. So but that was what I was seeing was a lot of people saying that does that mean that they're probably going to come out with the third? Their plans to come out with the third one now.
That would make sense. Beetlejuice. Okay.
I know, right?
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, but
I'd love to meet Michael Keaton.
Yeah, man. Come on now, Batman and Beetlejuice.
He had it all, dude. Those were such good movies.
The 3 Bs: Batman, Beetlejuice, Birdman. Did you ever see Birdman?
Yeah,
Birdman was good. That was a real good one. But yeah, so Beetlejuice. I'm like I said, that actually gets me more excited for the fact that, or for the possibility of there actually being a third film, and you have to call it Beetlejuice.
To me, it seems like they understand the movie. Being like, you know what, the first one was just his name. We're inching towards that. You don't say his name a third time. Don't say his name a third time, kind of thing. Yeah. So it makes me feel confident as well.
Do you think they're gonna get into more of the lore of Beetlejuice, like more backstory for him, or do you think they're gonna evolve his story at all? You still kind of like don't really know. We just got shown the world, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there was the animated series.
The animated
So
series.
they can
So
pull
you think
some
they're
from
gonna pull
that.
from that?
They could pull from that because if you watched it, and it's the DVDs are still on sale on Amazon, and I bought them a little while ago. Um, it is eerily similar to the movie with the toned down, because it's a kids cartoon with a little bit of the toned down on the outrageousness that he does in the first movie, like where he walks into the brothel or he honks his crotch. You know, none of that was in the cartoons, but it's like you watch it and you're like, oh, he would totally do that.
Yeah.
You know, so if they could draw from that what we learn about the world that he comes from, that could be dope. Or I mean, or if he goes on a rampage, that could also be awesome.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty. I mean, I already did. I mentioned that being one of the movies that I'm actually, anticipating for this upcoming year. There's a shit ton of movies coming out,
Yeah.
and I think I'm not even sure when that one comes out. That one is coming out more later on, I know, but it was one of the movies that got affected by the striker, the strike, the writer's strike. If I'm not mistaken, they were actually like a day away or so from finishing the movie. But then the strike happened, and they're like, we got to put this on hold.
So now they got to finish it. They got to do reshoots, fixes, and stuff like that.
Yeah, the reshoots. They're gonna do the screenings, and then the reshoots, and then that whole process. But I'm excited for it. They got the originals coming back, minus Alec Baldwin. He did that to himself. We all know damn well why he's not in that movie.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how to approach that subject, because that is that is very charged still. That is still very charged subject.
Yeah, I mean I think they either finished that movie that they were doing when all that drama happened. I'll call it drama.
But I mean, does he need to be in it?
I mean, he was. They were like the initial. I'm not even sure if Gina Davis is in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this could be completely different, especially if the rumors are true, where they're saying it might be based around, oh my god, what's the character's name? Lydia.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first one was pretty much based around Lydia, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it was Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's characters who like first meet him and bring him into the world, and then he becomes captivated with Lydia.
Yeah.
So if we keep going at this point, I mean, we could just say that they crossed over, and we don't have to touch base on that anymore.
Yeah. There'll be some reference there.
Yeah,
there
of course.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping it's not like one of those. It comes out and it's like, okay, well, we
missed the mark completely on this one.
We shouldn't have done that. We should have just left it. I was gonna say, one thing that I know going over the past week that I did see, you told me you saw a little bit of it, but so we talked a little bit. I think I mentioned Pauly Shore trying to do a Richard.
I was about to say Gene Simmons.
Dude. It's Richard Simmons, right?
Yeah, it's Richard Simmons.
I was like,
Gene Simmons' kid's Richard Simmons.
Right now,
Richard Simmons was the aerobics guy.
Bob Ross? Is it Bob Ross? No, Richard.
Similar hair.
Pauly Shore is trying to do a Richard Simmons biopic, and he did a short film called The Court Jester that was done by the same group of people that did the Robin Williams short film, where they had I think he was a comedian. He wasn't a known actor playing the part, and the guy was actually pretty good. Like he had the voice down pat. But Pauly Shore is basically doing a little short film with him as Richard Simmons, and I watched it because it's out on you can watch it now. Court Jester. It's interesting. I know going into it, I was like, I don't like. It's gonna be hard for Pauly. I just don't have the most faith in Pauly Shore being able to not act like Pauly Shore. You know what I mean? Like in a movie.
He has that typecast feeling where they just had him play himself in a bunch of movies and they just changed his name. Encino Man, Biodome.
Yeah, all those movies.
In the Navy now, or is it in the Army now? Fucking the one where, oh man, where he plays the girl's boyfriend and they end up on a farm and he ends up being a cool dude. But yeah, it seems like he only played Pauly Shore in the movies he was in.
Yeah,
Which
I mean, he's got
weren't
he's
bad,
got that
dude.
whole,
Encino Man, dude, one of
Yeah.
my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. So watching this, I was sitting there going like, if he can pull it, like I'm gonna watch it, and if he can pull that off somehow, I mean, let him happen. Let him do it. Let him do it. The biopic. He wants to do a full on biopic, and there was some controversy coming out of that because Richard Simmons was coming out saying like, oh, I don't.
Yeah, that's the thing with me. Like, Richard Simmons still alive, bro. If
Yeah.
if anybody was gonna play him in a movie, it could be him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What did they do to Robert De Niro in The Irishman? They made him look 30 again. You know, if they could do it with him, they can do it with Simmons. So that's where I was sort of like hesitant to watch it. I haven't watched it yet because honestly, if it's anything like the Bobby Lee Death and Ramen, it feels like it's a video you have to watch, you know, just to really get the feeling that the guys are trying to put across in the movie.
I mean, I think it's an audition, for lack of a better phrase. It's just, it feels like it's an audition to try to make this biopic happen. And I just know that Richard Simmons came out and was just not. He's too nice of a guy to really come out and full on blast something like that. You know what I mean? But he's also one of those personalities that kind of like Mr. Rogers almost. You remember Mr. Rogers?
Mm.
Kind of had that, like everybody knew him as like this really nice person, but then, you know, there couldn't help but be little, almost like conspiracies out there that there was something sinister there going on because he was almost like too. It's that thing where it's like this guy's
Too good to be
nice.
true.
Yeah, too good to be true, and I feel like Rich Simmons gets a lot of that too, where he just like there's something about him that just he's a little bit too. He's just a little too weird. He's a little too off. He's got to be something there. You know what I mean? And for all we know, I mean, he's just that nice dude. I've heard little stories here and there of him, you know, being a little bit of a party animal.
Oh shit,
like,
for real?
Yeah. There's like
Yo.
you can look out there like people talking about their stories of him being at parties and stuff like that and being like a little bit of a
Wild.
a little, but not any crazy. Like there's people that've done way wilder stuff than that, but just, you know.
But no, in contrast to who he is and how he shows,
what
you're
you're
like,
normally
oh,
used to
man,
seeing him.
this guy likes to party.
Nah, but overall, like he seems like a really nice guy. Like all those people that tell those stories are also ending it with like, but the guy's like the one of the nicest people, and so, you know, it's just, I don't know enough about Richard Simmons' personal life to really know like what the angle is to approach a biopic, but I just feel like you can get somebody better than Pauly Shore, and no offense to Pauly Shore, but you know it's one of those personalities where it's like if I was an actor, like an actual person who would like, that was my thing, that was my trade, and I was also accomplished in that, you know, I would want to take on a role like that, you know, if I felt like I could pull it off and I had to look for it and all that.
Sort of like Sasha and Freddie Mercury kind of thing, you think, where like they probably felt like he wouldn't respect it? Do you think that was like something?
I don't think they would think. I don't think they think that he wouldn't respect it. I think that they just don't think he could pull it off.
Like he doesn't have the acting skill.
He doesn't have the chops for it. Yeah, yeah. But one thing that we cannot not talk about this week, and sadder note here, but you know, the late great Carl Weathers has passed on, and you know, R.I.P. to the man, the myth. But Carl Weathers, you know, obviously known for some of his roles, like most recently in The Mandalorian, but then obviously his biggest role probably being Apollo Creed in the Rocky films. Recently passed away, and for Carl Weathers, 76 years old. 76 years old, dude.
Yeah, man. You know, from going in the fight with Rocky to then I think it was Predator after, you know, the iconic scene with him and Schwarzenegger meeting up in the jungle. Like, Billy, you son of a
this
bitch.
is
That
that's not going to get
No.
memed quite as much as
no. But it was
the original.
it was awesome. It was seeing this guy who was like, in that movie specifically, he was like super confident in their skill. I mean, he ended up dying in the movie, but he was still like a very memorable part. I would say beside Arnold and the Predator, he was the most memorable character in the movie.
Well, he was probably second billing. Like he was
Yeah.
probably like the supporting cat. He was perfect in that role as he was perfect in but actually I shouldn't say that because I don't think you could be like you can't picture anybody else being Apollo Creed.
Yeah, it's really hard. And sometimes actors do such a good job that it makes it difficult to think about anybody else besides them playing the role.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's one of those. But it was a tough one because, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, and selfishly, you the first thing you think of is like, well, what's going to happen with his character in The Mandalorian, and
and they're moving towards a movie instead of
they're doing the
a
movie
show.
now, so I'm sure he was set to be a part of that, at least feature in that somewhat. But
I hope they give him some sort of send off.
I mean, I know whatever they're doing next with that, they're gonna do something. Like they're gonna do something to either honor the character. Of course, you'll have a little something at the end of that's probably dedicated to him. But he was just. It's interestingly enough that he managed to stay relevant in throughout his career, and then even to the end here. He's coming out one of the biggest shows on TV, and if I was to ask you what was your most memorable?
Oh, Chubbs and Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
and
say.
then Chubbs and then Chubbs and Little Nicky.
Oh, that's right. He does.
Yeah, he comes out in Little Nicky, dude. Everybody forgets, but he was.
Was he dead? He was. He
was I think the dance teacher in heaven.
Oh, that's right.
You see him in the end scene with his mom. He's uncredited.
That's right.
But I think he mentions like, oh, he used to be a golf instructor before he died.
Yeah, so they made
And
it
then
seem
now
like
in
he
heaven,
died,
he's
and
like
now
a
he's
dance instructor.
It's all in the hips.
It's all in the hips.
That's all.
It's all in the hips.
Yeah.
Hey, Chubbs, you remember that gator that got you? Yeah, well, I got a surprise for you. I got the gator. Oh, damn, he died in that too.
And then it just
Oh,
cuts
shit.
to the man dies.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And in Rocky too? Jeez, man.
Maybe we'll cut that part out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll cut that part out.
No, but I mean, we saw it go from Apollo to his son, so that was cool. Mandalorian, I hope he does get a send off. They have to. There's no way.
They're gonna mention it. Maybe they'll get to a scene where they're at a funeral or something for him because he was.
I hope he goes out like a badass.
I mean, when someone, I think when they're not, you're not gonna see an action scene and then. He's
But
gone.
they're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, no,
They're
if anything, they'll just be like he passed on, and this is the scene of his funeral, and we move on.
Hearing about these passings of these like people who are still relevant and characters that we see today and every day, it's sad, but at the same time, it's like, dude, at least I got to experience this with them,
Oh,
So as heartbreaking as it is, I mean, we still have the memories, we still have the movies.
Got the movies.
We can experience them over and over again, and I think that's something great about the current day. After looking into it, he was in stuff that I didn't even know he was about. He did voice acting in cartoons and stuff, and in cartoons that I've watched, and it's like that was him. You're like you sort of feel that it's the character, but without looking into it, you don't really know. And
This man was much more of my childhood than I thought.
Well, it was in a childhood cartoon. This cartoon came out like 10 years ago. Like not even 10 years ago, maybe like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it sucks, dude, because we're getting older, and so it does feel we're gonna start seeing this happen more and more often.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, I think that's all for today. Thank you guys again for joining us, and we'll just leave you with peace.